Hey everybody, in today's video we will talk about constant product AMM. In the last video we talked about what is an AMM and the different types of AMM. In today's video we will talk about in depth about the constant product AMM model. Because once we will understand how this constant product AMM model works, it will be pretty easy to understand how all these different AMM model works. Okay. Now, if we talk about constant product AMM model, it is one of the earliest and the most popular AMM models, and it is based on a very simple concept. And the concept is that it need to maintain a constant product between the two assets that are in liquidity pool. So let's say this is our two tokens, X token and Y token, and this is our liquidity pool. And what is a liquidity pool? We will talk about this in depth in the next video. But for now, you can think of liquidity pool as a pool where we will have different number of X and Y tokens. So let's say in this liquidity pool, we have different X and Y tokens. Okay. Let's say the number of token X is equal to X and the number of token Y is equal to Y. Means let's say the number of token of X can be 100, 200, 1000, 2000 or even 3000, whatever number it can be. In the same way, number of Y token can be anything. Now, if we talk about constant product AMM model, it makes sure that the number of tokens between the number of token inside the liquidity pool should always be constant. Means X into Y should always be equal to a constant. Let us understand this with the help of an example. Let's say we have X number of 100 number of X tokens and we have 200 Y tokens, and let's say the liquidity pool fee is 0. So actually whenever we have a liquidity pool, there is a liquidity pool fee. We will talk about this again in the next video. Don't worry about it. But for now, we are assuming that the liquidity pool fee is equal to 0. And if you will take the product of these two numbers, because constant product AMM works on product of the two assets, right? So it will be equal to X into Y, that is 20,000. Now in this 20,000 is the constant, and AMM needs to make sure that this number, this 20,000 should always be 20,000. Means the product of these two tokens, that is X token and Y token, should always be 20,000. Now let's say, because we are talking about a decentralized exchange, right, which is actually using the AMM constant product AMM model. So let's say there is a trader, okay, who wants to buy, let's say 60 X tokens. Okay. So currently in the liquidity pool, we have 100 X tokens and this trader wants to buy 60 X tokens. Now, once he will actually trade, means once he will tries to buy this 60 X token, what will happen? The number of X token will get reduced, means currently we have 100 and after the trader will take out 60 tokens, the number of X tokens will be 40, right? Now, once it will become 40 and if we will multiply this 40 with this 200, right, because with the number of Y tokens, you will see that the constant number is decreased, right? Means now the value that we have is around 8,000 and 8,000 is not equal to 20,000. And this is also true, right? Because this trader is actually taking 60 X tokens from the liquidity pool. But actually when he is doing that, the constant is getting changed and we do not want the constant to be changed, because this is what constant product AMM is all about. That we need to make sure that this number should remain always and always constant. So how this trader will make sure that the constant does not get disturbed? So in order to make sure that this number does not get disturbed, the trader will deposit some amount of Y tokens so that we can make sure that X into Y is always 20,000. So now if we will calculate this, like how much Y token this trader need to deposit into the liquidity pool. So this is our liquidity pool, and how much Y token the trader need to deposit in it after withdrawing 60 X tokens. How we can calculate it? We can simply use this formula that if there are 40 tokens, 40 X tokens in the liquidity pool, and let's say we take this as Y, then how much Y tokens should we have in the liquidity pool? So we can simply calculate Y from this particular formula. And you will find out that Y is equal to 500 tokens. So we are simply using mathematics here. So what I have done is I have simply taken the number of Y tokens to be Y. Okay. And after the trader will take out 60 X tokens, the number of X tokens in the liquidity pool will be 40. And now I'm multiplying this 40 with Y so that I can equate it with the constant value, that is 20,000. And if we will calculate this Y, like we will calculate Y value from this equation, you will find out that in the liquidity pool, we must have 500 Y tokens in order to have this constant always. So now if I will calculate, let's say if I will calculate this 500 into 40, that is, this is our y and this is our x, you will see that this value will give us 20,000. So you can see by depositing some 300 more tokens, because currently we have 200 tokens, right? Initially we have 200 tokens. And once the trader will find out, okay, in order to maintain this constant value, I need to deposit some more 300 tokens, because after 300 tokens will be added, it will become 500 tokens. So this 500 into 40 will be equal to 20,000. So this is what trader will need to deposit in order to maintain the constant product AMM. So after deposit, the new x into y equation will be 40x token, because 60 tokens has already been taken out by the trader, and then 500 y tokens, because 300 more tokens will be added by the trader, so that we can maintain this 20,000 value. And this is how constant product AMM model works. Let's take one more example in order to better understand it. So let's say in this particular case, as you can see, the constant will be 500 into 100, right? 500 into 100, that will be equivalent to 50,000. Now this time, let's say the trader wants 100x tokens from the liquidity pool. So if the trader will withdraw 100x tokens from the liquidity pool, how much x tokens will be left inside the liquidity pool? 500 minus 100, that is 400 tokens will be left inside the liquidity pool. And if we will calculate, and this is the x tokens, right? X tokens. And if we will calculate 400 into 100, that will be equivalent to 40,000. And you can meet, like, this is not equal to 50,000, right? That is for sure. So since this is not equal to 40,000, so if the trader will withdraw 100x tokens from the liquidity pool, trader needs to deposit some y tokens, right? And how much y tokens trader need to deposit into the liquidity pool? It's very simple, right? Because currently we have 400 x tokens and we do not know anything about y tokens. So 400 into y, which will be equal to the constant. And if we will solve this equation, this will be equivalent to, I think, 50,000 divided by 400 again. So it will be 20. Okay, sorry for my mathematics. It should not be 20, right? Because it is 4. I am confused. I was confusing it with some other digit. So it should be 125, right? It should be 125 because there are 500. 500 is in the numerator and we have 4 in the denominator. And if you will calculate it, it will be 125. So let us cross check this. So after withdrawing 100x tokens, there will be 400 y tokens. So 400 into y, and if you will calculate, y will be 125. So if you will see in the liquidity pool, already we have 100 tokens, right? So trader needs to add 25 plus more token so that the constant is 50,000 only, right? If you will calculate the number of y tokens, it will be 125 minus 100, because after you will add 25 plus 100, it will be 125, right? So the new equation will be x into y 400 into 125. And if you will calculate this, it will be equal to 50,000. So as you can see, again, we are maintaining this constant value, that is 50,000. We have reduced the x value by 100 and we have increased the y value by 25. And by this, we are able to maintain this constant product AMM. And this is the graph of constant product AMM model. So you might have seen this graph so many times on Uniswap and you are like, oh my God, what is this all about? But trust me, this is very easy. This graph is all about x into y is equal to constant. So this is your balance of x, this is your balance of y. Let's say the balance of x is 100 and balance of y is 200. And if you will calculate, it will lie somewhere here on this line, on this parabola looking graph. Okay. In the same way, if let's say the value of x is reduced by 60, right? So now it is 40. And now if you will calculate the y value, it will be around 500. And again, the value will lie somewhere here. So earlier 100 into 200 was around 20,000. And once we will reduce the value of x, that is 40, we need to increase the value of y, which is 500. And once you will again calculate this 500 into 40, again you will get the same number, that is 20,000. And if you are confused like how we have got this particular graph, let me tell you how we have got this. So let us see how we can find this graph that we have seen in the slide, that is this graph. So we have to have x, right? And then we need to multiply it by y. And then when we will multiply this x into y, we will have some constant value, right? So let's say the constant value is 1. So you can see once we will do that, and ignore this particular part for now, you will find a graph which looks something like this, right? And this is the same graph that you are seeing here. And that's why your constant product AMM model graph looks something like this, because when you will plot x into y with some constant value, when you will equate it with some constant value, you will get this kind of graph. So if you will increase this value, let's say 2, you will see the graph will start shifting. Okay, so if I will make this 3, if I'll make this 4, so you can see the graph is shifting as soon as I am increasing the value. And if I will decrease the value, definitely it will go sideways, but this will not happen eventually in the liquidity pool, because there will be no value, like there can be no asset in negative value, right? So it will be mostly positive in nature, and this is how it will look. And that's why you see graph which looks something like this, right, for the constant product AMM. So with this, we will end the video for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Meet you soon in the next video.